Hello everyone and welcome to Lowdown.
In this episode, we get up close and personal with Disney street performers, talk with a local musician, and discuss an important musical holiday.
All of this and of course more on this episode of Lowdown.
Hey everyone, I'm Kelly, and welcome to our last pre-recorded show of the semester. Next time, we'll be coming to you live.
And I'm Riley. Wait, Kelly, isn't this going to be your first live show hosting?
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Riley. Definitely not nervous at all.
Oh, stop. You're going to be fine.
Honestly, I'm just trying not to think about it yet, so let's hear from Taylor, who interviewed a local musician in true Lowdown fashion.
My name is Alex, and I have played guitar for 12 years. Most of the time I feel one feeling, but music makes me feel two feelings usually. Multiple. First song I learned was Sugar We're Going Down by Fall Out Boy. I picked up guitar because I wanted to be in Fall Out Boy really bad. Usually when I practice, I like to warm up with a few scales. Usually after that, I like to find two goats, sacrifice them, and then just see what comes to me. I am in a two-piece emo rock ensemble called Mume, like the sound a car makes when it drives by. And I play guitar in that, and my friend Steven sings and plays bass. We're garbage, but buy our album on Bandcamp. Actually, it's free, just download it. I'd eventually like to be in a pretty successful band. We don't have to get super crazy, but I need to get better at songwriting, and I don't know, I'd just like to be able to tour and play music for quite a while. If anyone's interested in starting a Spice Girls tribute group, I am here for that, though I do call dibs on Baby Spice. So. Okay, this is my brand new American-made Fender Stratocaster. I'm not sponsored, but if you're trying to hit me up with a sponsor, please do. We've got a nice Olympic white finish, got this nice maple neck, and it sounds so good. This is my Epiphone Dot. It is the cheaper of my guitars, but it still sounds freaking awesome. My musical influences would be Arctic Monkeys, Alabama Shakes, Haim, and The Last Shadow Puppets. And this is my Alvarez acoustic. It is also very cheap, but it gets the job done. My best advice that I can give to someone as a guitar player is do not go into Guitar Center and play any form of Stairway or any Creed song or any Nickelback song, because you will be flopped immediately.
I feel like we haven't had a lot of female musicians on the show this season, so I'm pumped to see something new.
Speaking of something new, Sarah takes us on a trip to Orlando, Florida, where she talks to us about the Disney World street performers. Let's check it out.
Every year, over 17.2 million people travel to Orlando, Florida to experience the #1 destination in the world, Walt Disney World. Guests like us come from all over the world to visit Disney's park attractions, meet the Disney characters, and even catch a couple shows. But did you know Disney World is also home to more than just Mickey and his friends? There are over 40 different award-winning performances that you can see at any given time. These shows are put on by what they call street performers, and they are a huge part of what makes Disney so magical. Street performers don't just come in one form, though. There are actually many different kinds of acts that you can see. You can catch yourself watching a group of flag throwers. The Spandieratori di Sansi Polpro are a team of authentic Italian flag throwers who are dressed in colorful Renaissance costumes, representing Tuscany in the Italian side of Epcot. Or you can experience a couple cultural performances in Animal Kingdom, such as the Tam Tam Drummers of Harambe, where African drummers emulate the rhythm of the Congo. But my personal favorite was the Viva Gaia Street Band. Their Caribbean performance was just incredible, and I loved their outfits. Check out those hats. You are constantly being surrounded by the different music styles because the entertainers are scattered inside and outside each of the parks, like Downtown Disney, for example. We got to see a number of performers there, such as this cool jazz band, or a Bob Marley-influenced musician. There is even an African children's choir with amazing dance moves. Street performers provided me with the kind of amusement I wasn't really counting on, and is best found by simply stumbling onto it. This made it one of my favorite parts of my Disney experience.
I have a ton of respect for street performers. Traveling around, doing what they love to make money, super amazing.
Doing that takes so much passion and perseverance. Good for them. With that being said, try and persevere through this first commercial break.
And we're back. We still have so much stuff coming your way.
Shannon went to Summit Art Gallery to take a look at a local sculptor who's really good at creating busts.
Whoa, sounds interesting. Let's watch.
Yeah, hi, my name's Ron White, and I'm an artist here at Summit Art Space on the 3rd floor. I do sculpture, portrait sculpture, and large-scale mural drawing. Started drawing and sculpting in undergrad school in the 80s, and then in the 90s took a little segue between there and grad school, and then realized I really wanted to go to grad school. So then going to grad school, I went to Kent State. They were the only university in Ohio, really, that taught figural sculpture, life-size figural sculpture. Ice sculpting, I had a roommate in college, and that sort of got to be a little bit of a difficulty. So then I went to move out and go to another apartment, and in doing so, there was a little fire next door. And this is, I think, for my life, how it's always been, how I've met people and developed relationships and got into art activities. The lady next door that was having a fire in her house came over and I was trying to help her deal with it. And she's like, yeah, I'm graduating from the University of Akron and I'm their ice art director. I never knew there was such a thing. So she said, well, if you are interested, why don't you go to the university and talk to the chef? And since you have a master's in figural sculpture, he will probably teach you how to carve ice, and then you can help them to carve more complicated ice. And then that's how that worked. Because most of the time they just do fish, and that kind of swans, right? And I wanted them to do more like figural sculpture, like a woman holding on to this man's head that she had cut off with a sword. different than a fish and a swan. In my head, it's different because I like to imagine it as being several hundred drawings, and then whenever the drawings sort of all like animate together, then it becomes a sculpture. So I see form as like several flat things that then create a volume. So I think that's why I can't separate myself between the two-dimensional and the three-dimensional art. I have to have both of them. I'll do one for a while, 3D, and then I just have to get back over and doing a two-dimensional one. I do have the idea in my head. Early on, what I would do is I would have totally photographically, like 3D, perfect photographic hyperreal sculpture of a person. I think I react to society as it's happening, life as it's happening, and since politics are kind of such a big deal right now because it's so strange, like in my whole life it's never been so strange. Like I really don't like anybody that's running for an office, but someone has to be there, you know? So I think that's what's happening to my artwork and to me. So I think I'm just commenting on that situation, right? Like the piece over there that's called The Politician, and he has like 7 mouths, and it's a mouth from each one of the people running. Or you could just look at it as one person that's talking out of that expression, both sides of their face.
Nothing like an amazing artist to remind me that I can barely draw a house.
Do you think he would create a sculpture of me? I mean, that'd be like really rad.
How classy would that be to just have a sculpture of yourself chilling in your apartment? That's the dream.
Man, it sure is. I'm gonna have to look into it. But anyways, next up, Emily takes us to Cleveland for an art show featuring a teacher from the School of Art. How neat.
Let's watch.
Hammer is a 2-year-long investigation with a retired Detroit police officer who gave me access to his objects and photographs. I mediated the collections in an effort to make sense of them, putting myself between Hammer and the collection. I structured a new narrative that simultaneously accepts and rejects the narratives of the original collection. So by design, I changed the narrative by restructuring the objects and photographs within the collection to tell a new story. When you're putting a show together, there are a lot of things to consider. Your budget, the viewer, the experience within the gallery, the location and time, but also what does the exhibition say as a whole that each piece doesn't say by itself. So you have a responsibility to the work to mediate an authentic experience. To see a work like this finished, it really is a gratifying experience, especially because I never thought this work would exist as an exhibition. It was designed to be a book, and then when the opportunity presented itself to have a show, I decided that I thought it would be a really great challenge. And now that I have completed the show, it will be traveling to another gallery in the summer. So that's a really exciting thing also. It's kind of like a, like a bonus. That's really hard. I actually really like the title Hammer because it is wall vinyl and it exists as the title of the exhibition, but because of its size and placement in the gallery, it almost serves as its own piece and artwork. So it's very self-serving to the work. Figure out a group of people that support art and keep yourself within that group. Realize early that it's a hard climb and you really have to want it, and you have to make sure it's going to love you back because it's a huge hard climb to be a working, practicing artist. But when it hits, it really hits. Thank you for coming to the show.
Cleveland is so artsy. I love it.
Seriously, Cleveland is chock full of cool things to see, whether you're walking downtown or just driving around aimlessly. There's always stuff happening.
Most definitely. You know, Kelly, let's go to Cleveland after the show. I could use some chill time.
Okay, settle down, Riley. We're not finished quite yet, but we do have another commercial break, so stick around.
Hey there, thanks for sticking around. We're Lowdown.
Riley, do you know what my favorite holiday is?
I mean, it has to be Christmas, right?
Close, but no. It's Record Store Day. It's my own personal Christmas.
Okay, now I'm curious. Can you tell me more?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, not now, but let's watch. It's finally April, which means it's time to prepare for this year's Record Store Day on April 16th. If you've never heard of it before, basically it's a day used to celebrate and support local music stores. Every year there are special performances, meet and greets with artists, there are parades, it's just this whole big celebration, and also a special spokesperson is chosen each year. Last year it was Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and this year Metallica is the official ambassador for Record Store Day. And every year there's always this big anticipation of the official Record Store Day list, which is what I'm going to talk about today. It's just been released and we're going to talk about some stuff that's on there. The list can be a little overwhelming, so I'd like to just share with you a couple of my top picks, things that, I'll be looking for on Record Store Day. Understandably, there are a lot of David Bowie releases this year. Among them is a 7-inch picture disc of the original edit of TBC 15 off of his album Station to Station, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. There are also 2 other Bowie releases, but I'll let you figure those out for yourself. This year, Record Store Day is doing something a little different in that they've released a series of vinyls that are supposed to be in support of France and our fellow vinyl lovers over there. Among those releases are The Doors, singles Roadhouse Blues and A Feast of Friends, as well as 21 Pilots, who are releasing a series of live recordings from the Fox Theater. Something I didn't expect to find on the list were copies of the soundtrack to Star Wars The Force Awakens, which also comes on a picture disc. And also, my inner movie monster nerd is very excited because they're also releasing the soundtrack to Nosferatu on a silver vinyl, which is going to be amazing, and it's basically a reconstruction of the soundtrack as it was played in 1922, which is going to be great. I really like anything that comes on a colored vinyl. I'll pay so much extra money for it, it's unreasonable. I could sit here and talk about Record Store Day for hours, but I'll wrap it up so you can go figure out your game plan. In addition to what I talked about today, be sure to also look at what bands like Death Cab for Cutie, Muse, and Florence and the Machine are releasing. And if you want to see the list for yourself, go to recordstoreday.com. They also have a record store locator, so you can type in your location and see where your nearest participating record store is. My go-to is Square Records over in Highland Square. They've always got a great selection and they participate every year, so be sure to check them out, and I'll see you guys there.
I love Square Records, such a cool place.
It's definitely a perfect example of local music stores who can use our support every day of the year.
Supporting local businesses is very important. Another thing that's important is having an organization to be a part of. Big Love, an annual event in Akron that brings together the community in a positive, inspiring way. Enjoy local art and music and interact with local community organizations while eating delicious food in a family-friendly atmosphere. An experience begun in February of 2014, Big Love each year brings together over 20 musical acts, 25 visual artists, many poets, food vendors, elementary schools, university students, community members, and many workshop-giving organizations to co-create a sustainable example of collaboration, community, wellness, and unconditional love. Spanning all 3 floors of Musica and with over 12 hours of programming, the last event brought over 2,000 people through the doors. In addition to the fun, there is also a designated area where participants can interact with city officials regarding neighborhood-specific issues. This event is a powerful example of what can be done when the community works together to inspire, support, and educate itself. Musical acts including Angie Hayes and The Help in the Hands, which have both been previously shown on Lowdown, are just 2 of the many musical acts that are showcased at the event. The audience loved every aspect of this event and many were rocking out on the dance floor in support for local music. This event is free to the public and will not disappoint. Make sure to check it out. They all love being a part of it, and that is most important. Just like how much we love being a part of Lowdown, which, by the way, this is the end of the show, which means we only have one more episode.
Oh man. Join us next time when we go live. In the meantime, be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ZTV Lowdown.
And from all of us here at Lowdown, stay real.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.